Welcome to the Logistics Point interviews. We are joined by Matthew Ware from CFL, who is the CEO, and we're going to talk about express couriers and what is happening in the Matthew. Thank you very much for joining us. How would you evaluate and rate the area in terms of capacity, in terms of also agility, considering how many problems there were in the last couple of...
We have a very mature express industry in the UK, and we have a lot of businesses that depend on the express services that are offered in and out of the UK as a consequence. A key part of that is the quality of the infrastructure that we have today, but it's worth noting that we've got to continue to invest in that infrastructure, and that means everything from, like a really robust road network through to investment in logistics sites. When we talk about international express logistics, we're really talking about aviation capacity and access to a wide network. And one of the benefits of the UK is we've got Heathrow Airport, which offers kind of a global connection and provides a whole variety of different sized express businesses to offer customers very specific solutions and services. So the UK's current state is pretty positive, but there are headwinds, as there always are.
What things do you think companies, but also in governments, when it comes to infrastructure and economy, both need to work together? What do you think they need to put in place, and what should they aim for?
The key part of being able to provide express logistics in a changing and dynamic world is to have infrastructure that's flexible and capable of dealing with growth and demand. In the UK, there are aspirations to build lots of new houses. Lots of new houses require electricity, and they require plumbing, and they require sewage, and all of those kind of physical things are very obvious. But they also require warehousing space to be able to meet the demands of the people who are going to live in those houses, right? So you can't build new houses without planning to build logistics capabilities to serve the people who are going to live in those houses. And it's that kind of joined up thinking that we need to have at every part of government and every part of the planning piece. Heathrow Airport is a tremendous asset for this country. The infrastructure supporting the cargo operations at Heathrow is 40 years old. And there needs to be investment in those kind of facilities to enable businesses like ours and our customers and those express operators to have robust supply chains, provide access to aviation capacity, and enabling a planning environment that enables sensible decisions and investments to be made. We don't require the government to build the logistics parks. There are private businesses that will build those logistic parks. They just need those provisions to be made.
What are the areas, sectors in this you've seen the most growth, or you expect the most growth, and maybe on the other side, some that are slowing down for one reason or another?
So India has become a really important express market into the UK, and is a growing express market out of the UK, and there are some good reasons for that. There's a big Indian diaspora in the UK. Similar trends coming from Indonesia and Thailand and Malaysia, and that part of the world in particular is a growing contributor to this kind of volume. So Australia used to be a very strong export lane. For our customers, that's not as significant as it used to be. We're seeing kind of similar with the US and some of the Middle East. So there's sort of this movement around, but the kind of Asian powerhouse is definitely where the engine of growth.
How much of the growth in the sector that you work in is related to kind of the increase of lead times in shipping, maybe in container shipping at the moment, and how much is because people maybe are worried that their products will not reach the end consumer on time?
I think the supply chain challenges that are presented with shipping delays is a double-edged sword. It tends to drive prices up, so that can make it difficult for smaller businesses, which is predominantly what we provide services for, who perhaps see their normal traffic becoming more expensive because there's just more urgent stuff that's suddenly pouring, as you say, people who are concerned about that. So I think we see some growth in that space, but generally speaking, because we're talking express and a kind of express-like product, that kind of growth is more likely to be in general cargo which is obviously a lower product and is more suited to those kind of goods that you might put on a boat, very large shipments of the same thing. Whereas at CFL, what we specialize in is it's kind of the import of items that are going to many different addresses or consolidations, but they're complex in terms of the number of different goods and items that they are, because the clearance type that we facilitate at the airport is designed really to speed the clearance of those kind of goods.
What type of technology are people now using to make their lives better and businesses more competitive?
I think technology in our sector is a really interesting question, but over the last 4 or 5 years, we've really recognized that actually it's not just about digitizing. You've got to digitalize processes and eliminate waste and provide customers, particularly with visibility. And when we talk about express services, what customers really prize is not just the speed, but it's also the certainty. It's also the knowing where something is at what time and being able to have that visibility. So it's a very fractured technology space where businesses and organizations are digitalizing their part of the process, but not interfacing and doing it across the chain. So you don't have the vertical integration that's really required for an end user.
Well, Matthew, thank you very much for your time. For everyone watching, you can learn a bit more from the story, and you can also subscribe to find more news like that. Thank you very much.